So hi guys, this is Wenzes. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're talking about INFJs and personal development, and this video is a little different. I'm talking to Taco, who's an ESTP. We met through the comment section, and I think we've been writing for, I don't know, maybe a year, even longer. What would you say?
I think so. At one moment you were away because you were not making any videos anymore, and suddenly I got updates again.
Yes, I know. I was MIA for a while, and so we got into a lot of conversations, and for me it was very interesting because I had an ESTP growing up that I learned a lot from, and I always thought, well, when we were talking, there was just a lot of great information that was coming across. So Taco, can you like say a little bit about yourself, how you got into MBTI and like your relationships with INFJ? So yeah, so then before we really start.
Yeah, it's some time ago that somebody asked me to do this 16 personality test with the dichotomy. So for me, the result was ESTP. I thought, oh, that's fun, let's do it. And I read the description and I thought, wow, this is so me. It was about how we struggle at school. I was kicked out of one school and struggled at another school. So everything resonates so much that I thought, how can I just determine how I am just with a simple test with some questions? So I digged into it. Learned about dichotomies and then learned about cognitive functions. So from one thing to the other, I think it's just TI knowledge trying to expand all the time. And I didn't grow up with an INFJ when I was young. I think our paths just didn't cross. I was so different with strong SETI. But then it's like you almost push each other away if you meet each other. That's at least my theory. But as we continue on our life path, and FE starts to develop with ESTPs and TI starts to develop with INFJs. And, I was already in my 40s and I started to wake up, and very coincidentally, but I think it's not really a surprise, NFJs started to show up in my life. It's really amazing. And I think I can learn a lot from you guys. And in the interactions with INFJs, I also noticed that they seem to like to learn from me. So it's mutual. It's not one-sided. A lot of INFJs seem to be in one-sided relationships where people with emotional problems come to them because they listen, and then they give and give a lot of energy. But I think I can give some positive energy, and they like that. So it's
yeah, amazing. Yeah, like for me, I can especially understand it if you say like that both types are a little like more developed, you know, like not like as teens. But you know, as you said, both functions are more developed, FE and TI, and so there can be a better connection. With me, it was just a coincidence that I had it in my life, and I think it kept me maybe from developing my SE for a long time because I always had my ESTP friend with me. So, you know, like I never had to worry about SE because I know he's going to take care of it, you know. So when we were in like public places, I never worked on establishing that function. But when I was like 23 or something, we moved away, and then I like really had to start working on this, especially because I had it all my life, like, you know, for 10 years around me pretty much. And so, and I wanted it and it wasn't there. So I kind of got it out of me more. And I believe when I am with an ESTP, the way INFJs act around ESTPs is how INFJs not should act, but how like a developed INFJ acts, even though an ESTP is not there. I think having an ESTP around helps INFJs to act in a way like that's going in a direction of growth. And
I feel the same. That also I go into the direction of growth. That's why I enjoy it so much. I have a coffee with an INFJ almost every day, and I massively enjoy those discussions.
Yeah, that's so cool. See, because you know, for me, it's like I'm all in this, right? I want to grow. This is one of my favorite things now, and you know, I know as ESTP, like there's always this will to conquer. You know, not just you know, conquer, like win everything. But you know, like you would like say that's true, right? That you always want to have new challenges and conquer them. And for me, this personal growth thing is like the one thing that excites me, and so I'm really happy about this. So yesterday, Taco and me were talking and writing, and then one thing came up that you said that you kind of tone down your SE when you're with INFJs, and
Yeah.
I'm so curious about it, because looking back at it, it was the exact same thing with my friend, that I knew, like, if he went out and let's say he would get into an argument, like, I wouldn't want to be around that. Like, it would scare me. But he made sure not to show that around me. I just knew about it. And so I wanted to ask you, like, what is it, like, why are you doing it? Why does it make, like, how can you tell that you should tone it down?
Yeah, the thing is, what typically happens, I say something, and then initially I don't think about the reactions of others, but then it must be FE. I notice their reaction on their faces or other body language, and I think, oh wow, that came out much more blunt or whatever than I wanted to, because you just see the reaction. And I have a good anecdote with an INFJ at work. She came to me after I had quite a conflict with my boss, and the sparks are just flying around. Basically, it was any SC fight. That's how you can see it. And she came to me afterwards because she was in the same meeting, and she started to advise me that what I should consider for future. It was not in a telling, but really in an INFJ way. So it's the best approach for me. And I explained that to me it was, I had no problem at all with the conflict. It was, I saw it as a good thing because I felt I cleaned the air, it cleared the air, and I could express what the issue was towards my boss. And yeah, I can imagine to the INFJ it looked like a war zone, but to me it wasn't. And so that's how I learn. And you see that somebody feels really uncomfortable with something which is to me normal, probably because of my SE, but it's just how I typically operate. And this is done in a say discussion way, but it's also if I drive a car, if I'm alone, yeah, probably an INFJ would think I'm an idiot and risk my life. But to me, it's controlled, and I know where the limits are. And okay, there might be sounds which sound like the car will break out of the corner and hit a tree, but to me, it's all controlled. So, but I don't want to scare them to death. So, if an INFJ is sitting next to me in the car, I drive like a grandma. At least that's how I feel. But just to create the kind of atmosphere which is comfortable, I don't want to be scared them to be scared to death.
Yeah, like that's so funny. Like, I remember also going through things like this, and there are two things that come to my mind. First off, I think for us INFJs, we have to get more into this field that you said, getting into arguments, because I feel, you know, we tend to avoid arguments. And, you know, if you have a, you know, as you said, like with your boss, you just cleared the air. We need to do this more and more, because if you do it in the beginning, then, you know, like there's no like big fight in the end. You just like being yourself, saying what you can say. And so like this is a thing I personally learned from ESTPs a lot, that I should just, you know, go for it and just state my opinion, and then things are going to be fine. But you know, as you said, for you say something, and then INFJs get, you can tell that they like, you know, like it's just too much for them, war zone, and then you tone it down. So then I have the question: do you think specifically you can tell with INFJs just because of their functions, that you feel it's the same functions you have, so you can see it in them more precisely? Or do you think INFJs are just more sensitive to SE specifically because it's our last function? Like, could you tell that?
Yeah, and what I think it is that it's just the energy is a bit too much. That's like I use a sledgehammer to just hammer in a nail, which I could do also with a normal hammer. And because I see the same with INFPs, and that just don't exist in my life. I'm just too much for them. And the things with INFJs, they at least feel some familiarity with SE, because it's part of you. So it's not that disturbing as for an INFP. That's my own view on it. That's how I believe it works. Because it might be too much, but it's not really disturbing for an INFJ. And to do NFPs, it is disturbing. And I've watched it with others, like an ESFP. I know really well, and her energy is just too much for a lot of people. And I love it. To me, it's positive energy, but I can see others are, yeah, you could say intimidated by it, or just like somebody is writing in large caps all the time. You know, it's like screaming.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. And,
that's interesting because, like, first off, okay, for me, that's like what I learned. It's okay. So it's not that you can tell more with INFJs than is with INFPs. You can tell that for everybody, it's like a little, or for those types with inferior SE or SI, it's a little bit too much for them. But you know what's really funny? That INFJs always think if they put their SE out, they're going to be too much for people. Like, you know, like, like that's so funny, right? I mean, like, and for you, since you feel it all the time, and it's just part of the fact that you feel you have more energy, it's a good thing, right? I mean, you can help a lot more people, you can get more stuff accomplished. And then these INFJs come around and we're all like, yeah, I'm afraid to show my true self because I think I'm going to intimidate people. And I don't know.
I have a request, just show your true self. And to the ESTPs who are looking at your channel, I would say just don't react in a way that you say, hey, come on, INFJ, you are too emotional, because we ESTPs, we should appreciate if somebody shows the true face. We're always poking, we're always pushing buttons to get expressions. So if we get an expression, we should appreciate it and not play it down because it's emotional. I love it myself. It shows who you are, and to me, I find it way more difficult, for example, to talk to an ESTJ, because they don't show any expressions. I know some ESTJ guys, they have a poker face all the time.
Yeah.
And it can be really irritating because I want to get them out of this kind of Botox face. You know, I want to see an expression, and I should not do that because they feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So, like, because of course I can talk to INFJs in a very specific way, like, this is what I'm thinking and so on. But I feel when it comes to expressing my emotional state, I feel just as comfortable with ESTPs as I feel with INFJs, probably even more than with ENFJs. I don't know if you have ENFJs in your life.
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah. So with me, it's a little more difficult with ENFJs because there is still a difference. I think because of the judging kind of way. I think with but it's, you know, I've learned a lot from ENFJs as well. But it's it's just really, really interesting and beneficial to me. So you know, I always say to the people watching my videos, of course, we love to help and we want to have connections with other people, but there's always a part of us that likes to be with people because we get something out of it. You know, we don't want to admit it, but in the end, we get something out of it. So, for example, I like talking to ESTPs because it is very playful. I feel I can test out how much I can bring out my SE. You know,
I think we can have fun together. If I look at, say, the connections I have with NFJs, I just also find it fun. It's
fun, right? And I also feel, yeah, for the longest time, it was really that I could hide behind the ESTP somehow. Like, I know it's not healthy in a lot of ways, but I like, let's say you're in a work environment and you have an INFJ. I think when it's really about, like, practical things in the real world, let's say, you know, having the ESTP who has the energy and who goes forward is a great thing, as long as, you know, the ESTP also benefits from, let's say, the inside of the INFJ, or having just somebody that you can open up with. So
that's exactly my life. Yeah, it's I feel that with NFJs I have to protect them, to keep them under my wing, because especially STJs, they sometimes just don't understand them, and they want to see progress from day to day. Well, an NFJ first wants to have the total picture before they start creating, and then the STJ becomes restless and says it thinks they're not productive, they're slow, and they can also be very instructive with their TE.
Yeah,
I typically step in and I try to be kind of moderator or a bridge. And I feel responsible then, because I can see both worlds. It's like you see somebody talking Chinese to an American and they don't understand each other while you understand both languages.
Yeah, that's really cool. But what would you say that, you know, looking from this perspective of you know, you also always have connections with people because you personally benefit from it. So I say, if look, for example, for me as an INFJ, if I have a boss who is an ESTP and we know I can trust him and he can trust me, one of the aspects is, you know, I know he can rely on me and talk to me about everything, but I also benefit from him being or her being like the fighter in front. Like, what would you say you benefit from in this, like, superficial or you just ego, it's not ego, but you know, like a selfish way, from being with INFJs in your surrounding?
I think for the last years I've been just seeking an eye, and it just fascinates me to a discussion like this. It's cool. So that's my benefit. It's I think I just want to learn more to grow, and this is a part I didn't spend a lot of time in. So
Yeah.
and I think the INFJs are great guides. So they show me a part which is underdeveloped, and it will never be as developed as with an INFJ. But I think INFJs, to me, are good role models, good examples. And I hope I'm the same with my SETI.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes.
that's so nicely said, because, you know, of course, for me it's not just, you know, as I had said, having that ESTP in front of me who pushes it, but it's also for me to learn. I see how it can be done, because I know then when the ESTP is not there, then I can use it more. And just like being around SE is very stimulating to me. And so I really appreciate, it's pretty much like you want to conquer one more thing, and the thing that you're interested in conquering now is NI. So you're around people who like use NI more, and so it, you know, you benefit from it, and there's just one more field you can get better at it and grow. And
And
I,
it's more than that, because I think also if you look at most ESTPs who are young, and I include myself, I think we are so much in the present, and so much just doing stuff that we can come across as shallow to a lot of the NFJs. And I really appreciate it, the way we can connect. And that started really late for me, maybe later even than other ESTPs. And I really enjoy that, because yeah, you know, you had an ESTP friend, you know, they're not very generous with showing parts of their soul. I think it has to do with it. We want to always be strong, and as soon as you open yourself up, you create a kind of weakness and a soft spot, and that doesn't fit with the typical ESTP personality. You don't want to have any soft spots where people can attack us in the future.
yeah.
So it's for us, it's a big threshold before we show a part of our soul. And I think with the NFJs, I'm comfortable to do so. And that to me is like you have a new dimension in your life. Hey, first you live just in the outside world, and suddenly you see there's a way bigger world next to that. So that's also part I get out of it. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. Like, it also gives back to me, because from my experience, I never, like, with no other type in general, I had such deep connections as I had with my ESTP friend. Because because especially this, we have grown up together, there was this real trust. We had, like, say, we were pretty much a family, and helped each other through really tough situations in our lives. And you know, like, once you have this, I think it's really easy quickly to understand between ESTP and INFJ that we're not going to fight each other, because the strengths of the one, you know, are the weakness of the other. And so you're not really, like, you feel secure opening up in a way, but at the same time, like, I also believe there can be really, really great connections. And I, like, have always said that I have considered ESTPs to be very emotional, in a way of they can get into an I and an FE when they feel secure, and it's very, very beautiful, and it's different than an NIFE. But you said you have to have somebody that you can trust. And I think for INFJs, if they're still trying to bring out their SE and TI more, being around an ESTP that they can trust is a great form where they can bring that out, because the ESTP is going to understand it, can see like, oh, I know what you're about, like I know where your SE and TI is, and help guide that. But yeah,
I think it's a wonderful way how you phrase that, because that's exactly how I feel about it. It's I don't feel threatened by INFJs, and at least not the ones in my life. And I think it also has to do that it's, to me, I like to how did you say that? You didn't say battle, but to confront people or test strength, and I believe somebody is at least equal. Otherwise, like playing a soccer game with a 5-year-old kid, that's not fun, eh?
yeah,
We always wanted to see how far we can go and how strong, to test somebody else's strength.
yeah,
So if, for example, a senior officer from a big company comes to me, I'm not intimidated. It's the other way. I need to be really cautious not to destroy my entire career by trying to push buttons to see how strong he really is, because he's way higher in the organization than I am. And still, I have this kind of urge to test him. And that's what I noticed with myself. And with the INFJ, I don't have that at all. It's the other way around. I want to protect them against, say, the bullies. Or I had the same at high school. There were some weak kids in my class. Those were guys. And I protected them against the bullies, even if the bullies were stronger. And I just would jump in between, and I didn't mind to get hits. I would also kick around myself, no problem. No fear there.
Yeah, and see that's but at the same time, because normally if I would think of somebody, I mean, I know you don't see INFJs as weak. I just mean if you would think of something superficially weak, it also wouldn't be interesting if they were just like all you wanted to do is just protect them, right? I mean, like
I don't see them as weak at all. It's just the lack of, or the low SE makes them less capable to fight in the moment.
Yes,
I think,
definitely.
I would be, I think, more afraid for an INFJ if an INFJ would really be angry than for many other types, because they will come up with really nasty plans, if you ask me. They can be, yeah, I think they can be really dark as well. There's one thing I want to mention, because I don't want to create the impression that INFJ should trust every ESTP. With every type, the good ones and bad ones. And ESTPs, yeah, I've also seen guys who are really blunt, and ESTPs say what they think, and if they think nasty things, they also just say it, and it's not always that they mean it in a harmful way. I think that's a big misconception, but it can really hurt people, and because if you say something which is really sensitive, then it hurts. And but it's really what we do. We think something, and then already we've said it, and it can be.
But you know what the good thing is about it is, so for example, I had, let's say I got to meet ENFJs, and they weren't, their SE is not that strong. So when they're pushing with their SE, I'm still trying, like when I wasn't developed specifically, I still try to be cordial. I still try to understand them, to have empathy for them. But with the ESTP, for example, when we got to, like when I met him, we were 15, 16, and the first day, I don't know if he flipped me off, if he showed me the bird, like he did something stupid like this, and we were just getting to know each other, and it was so blunt and it was so out of line that he pushed, like that was the only time I was really pushed to a point where I said, listen, if you want us to be friends and hang out, you gotta stop right now.
Oh, that was good. So yeah, I'm proud of you. And just that you already showed the boundary when you were so young, because most INFJs just swallow it.
Yes, because I mean, like, of course, this can happen if the other or the ESTP is not interested in a friendship. But we really had a really special connection, and so I know he wanted me to be his friend and for us to spend more time with each other. So
it's also the best reaction you can have, to tell an ESTP that you don't like, because they don't want it that you hate them or whatever. It's
exactly.
If you tell them, if you do that, it's I don't like it, and or you're hurting me, then we will adjust. We might not have noticed ourselves, and it's not our intention.
Yeah, because I believe every INFJ has like a threshold and, like, a point where they really flip, as you say, they can get angry. I think when an INFJ really gets angry, it can be very scary, and I think
it's also funny to me. They can be almost like an ESTP.
Yes.
It can be really aggressive.
Yes, and I think maybe it's even like with ESTPs, I would even realize like even more how scary it can be, because INFJs know you so well in a way, so they know which buttons to really push
Oh yeah.
to
Oh
hurt
yeah.
you. So that's how it comes out. I think INFJ, since their SE is not that strong, but they just know very often where to hit, and because they
Yeah.
know where to hit, that's the
Very
reason why.
precise. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a sniper.
Yes. No, but so the thing is that, I mean, every INFJ has like a point where where it's just too much. And so with ESTPs, I believe sometimes, because it's like so blunt at that point, that INFJs are kind of forced to say something. And then like a real friendship can happen. And I think the ESTP just respects INFJs just more because of it, because of saying what they want, and not doing everything that ESTP wants, but just to show like what I would like, and so on.
Yeah, we want to see your true self.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so let me think what else. So do you have the impression, how's it called, like, what would you okay, so with INFJ, do you have like INTJ friends or people in your life at all?
INTJ. Yeah, one of my best friends is an INTJ.
Yes, so
And,
that's what I wanted to ask you, because I know that there's a lot of the NI that you can lean into, but that's also with the INTJ. But what is it more of the if we think about like the FE thing? Because
that's FE and T basically. That's because the T can be disturbing to me and the FE is missing. So
no, but let's say,
INTJ.
because what I learned from being around ESTPs is this, having firmer belief of my, or a stronger grasp of my belief system. See, if I watch an ESTP and he is or she is in an environment, and people completely think differently than the ESTP is gonna stick to what they believe in.
Yeah, always. Even if it harms our career, it's like
Yes.
we have strong principles. That's
Yes,
how.
exactly. And I that's what I learned even more from than I think the SE, because I I love the SE. I think that, but the TI, since the energy is for me most apparent, like I can feel it better because it's the same functions. I learned that I have to concentrate on having a firmer belief system for myself, that I'm not conveyed by other people of their beliefs, because especially as when you're younger, the TI is not that dominant, or not that developed, and so it's difficult. Like, you sometimes just live in what the other person believes, or that and so that's what I learned a lot as well. So that's why I was asking you, do you have something like this when it comes to FE, that you feel there's something you learned in this FE realm?
I think my DFE for an ESTP started to develop when I started rowing in an eight. Because when I went to university, as a freshman, I immediately started to row. And first, it was really good for my SE, because I think I should have started rowing way earlier.
Yeah.
And in an eight, you're basically with 9 people, because there's also coxswain. And then typically you have also 2 coaches. It's quite a big team. Right? It's like 11 people all the time, and you go on training camps. You see each other every day. We would train twice in the weekends, and so it's very intense. I know them like my brothers. And what you also learn, at least for me, that was the main learning, is that you get the best performance if you work well together, and it should not be all the same like me. You have different strengths on different seats. So for me, there are a lot of life lessons I learned in rowing, and the FE is very prominent in my life. In the office, I spent a lot of time on just having a high performance team in the office. It's so cool. All different types, including an INFJ. And you just see that what people bring different gifts. And together we really a fast team, and really good. So we perform year after year, and it's to me it gives so much basically gratification for what I do. So FE is strong. Yeah, and the thing is for me, the thinking comes first, always. So I have a logical idea what I want to do, and then I think about the people. And I think with my interaction with INFJs, we do it the other way around.
Yeah. That's I think that's really really interesting, and I think for us also to realize that FE is so like you can really use it to make sure, okay, I get in everybody's opinion, because we do it so naturally that we don't even see it as a strength sometimes, you know, that other people may need time to develop. But it's like so great to hear like ESTPs and successful, you know, people who know like, oh, okay, once you have this FE and you also do that, you can have even more benefit because you take into consideration that the atmosphere is good and the people are good. But yeah, as you
we want to create a nice atmosphere. That's exactly what we like to do. Also, to give an example, the INFJ, when she came into the group, she was first sitting in the middle of this open space. And I thought that's not good, you know, all the sensory input from all the other people around there. So we found a spot for more, a bit in the corner with plant next to her, so to create a bit more quiet atmosphere, and an ISFJ next to her. So you have two extroverted feeler type, two introverts next to each other, and that works wonderful.
I think she really really appreciated that. I think that's like exactly exactly, that's so, and so it's so beneficial to have somebody around you who can tell, you know, because normally we have to fight. I think for INFJs, they have to learn with time that they have to fight for these things, that I need to fight for having a little bit more space or a little bit more like quiet, and you know, they don't have that much also negative energy around them, like if you have
but I'm also sensitive to that. To me, there's a negative vibe, I just feel bad, and so it's toxic to me. I try to stay away from it.
Because I think I couldn't even say if INFJs feel it better than ESTPs can, because like I feel it maybe through my low SE. It's really sensitive, you know, like they say if you're inferior, it's very sensitive, and that's why we pick it up. But for you you just pick it up because it's so strong, and then I don't know exactly how it works. Like
I've also been thinking about this. Is it also the SE which plays a role here? That but it must be FE to me, because if you emotionally feel it, it's FE. The thing is that the dominant extrovert sensors, so the ESFPs and ESTPs, to me, I have quite some friends who are really good in reading body language. So SE is more, I think, what we see, the body language, how people behave. And then the FE is more emotional.
Okay, and what would you say, like, how do you pick up, for example, if an INFJ is uncomfortable? You see it first off through your FE, or you think it's the body, you can read it through the body language?
A tough question to answer. I think it's unconscious.
You know?
I feel it, but I don't know if I see it or feel it or what it exactly is.
Yeah, it's in the end, it's always a combination. You know, we say like your extroverted functions are perceiving functions, and then you have, you know, so it's always like SE-FE combination, I guess. And for us, it's just the other way around. We have a really strong FE and we have a lower SE, but I think the overall notion, you know, comes across. And I also think, I think we both can really easily pick up if somebody is pretending something. Like, let's say somebody pretends to be very self-confident.
Oh yeah. Oh, see right through it. Yeah. Oh yes.
It's really easy. And when I was younger, I liked to play games with this, because I knew I could always push the limit of the other person, because I know that they're just like pretending. And
I call it, let them fall on their own sword. You just, it's almost like you set up a trap for them, because you see
it was like, I know it's not good. Like, it got me into a lot of trouble, but it was like that person was trying to play me. So I didn't feel bad about it. You know, they wanted to be like, oh, I'm so big and strong, and, you know, and so I never started it. But if somebody started to mess with me like this, I kind of like to push the button. And yeah.
Also, when people have basically a hidden agenda, I think we see pretty quickly. It's so obvious. And I also don't dare to lie to an INFJ.
No, but it's really funny. Yeah. Yeah, so those were like really the topics that I had on my mind when it comes to especially with ESTP. I just wanted to go through the functions like this. Do you have any specific, would you say, that you would like to talk about where you say, oh, this interests me really? That
Yeah,
is
the thing is, it's not really function related, but indirectly, of course, it is. But what you see with INFJs is they continue to think about, say, this perfect destination they want to go to. And we ESTPs, we just jump into action and fix on the go. And I think the best way for both of us is to sometimes go more into the middle of the spectrum. And, that's what I learned, at least from INFJs, that they, I think, I don't do it, I think, always with NI. It's probably more TI, yeah, driven, because that's much stronger with me. But I think more about consequences of my actions. And I encourage INFJs to take more action sometimes when they're already thinking about something for weeks. And one moment you need to start. It's like when we learned to ride the bike, we just jumped on the bike and we fell maybe 10 times. I can visualize an INFJ kid who's thinking how to ride the bike for a month before stepping on the bike. And he used to be already, he might have broken his wrist, but at least he learned how to ride the bike maybe in a day.
yeah. Yeah, so I think you know, as you said, this inferior SE makes it very hard, but I've gotten to a point, just like as you said, you want to grow your NE, and I don't have another choice. Like, for example, the way I build up this channel, you know, every week I did, you know, I also had you know, a 50-hour work week. I was a consultant in banking, so I had a very stressful work, and but I pushed myself because I knew I needed to do this in order to grow. And so it was difficult in the beginning, but then it got a lot better. And I know that I feel much better if I put it into action. And for me, and I think for ESTPs, when they're not developed, it's also like, as you said, use your TI more and just like maybe take a step back from the scene, so you know what you're fighting for. So let's say like this. For me, let's say we have an not very developed INFJ and a not very developed ESTP. Then I feel like the ESTP is here on the ground and the INFJ is here. So as long as you know, in the cloud somewhere, if the INFJ never comes down to earth, they can never really grow, because everything they make up in their mind is just an idea, and they cannot move forward because they don't know if that idea is true. Because once they like put it in the real world, they realized, oh, okay, only 60% of my idea were true, and then I can take the next steps. And for ESTPs, for me, it's like they're always fighting. There's always like, I'm gonna get this done, I'm gonna get this done, and all of their energy is like if this is an undeveloped, you know, is developed across everywhere, because they have so much energy that they have to get out, and they're not moving forward either, because of the direction.
They're climbing the wrong wall all the time, and with a lot of energy, or the wrong mountain, and they're at the top, and they're not getting at the right top.
Yeah. So for me, it seems like it's difficult for undeveloped ESTPs to see, okay, I'm gonna actually go a little bit up here, be a little bit in the cloud, so I need to see what the bigger picture is, like where do I want to go, and then I decide where I'm gonna focus my energy on. That I say, okay, I maybe have to give up this field where I've always been fighting, but I have to say, okay, I'm gonna step back so I can concentrate on this one thing that's gonna get me more to a goal where I want to go. And that's why, you know, combination.
Something else I would like to mention is that INFJs, they absorb a lot and without saying anything, and sometimes they regret that they didn't say anything, but they have beliefs, they have thoughts, but you just don't express it. And ESTPs are the opposite. We say what we think, and sometimes we create a lot of damage, and just because we say it too quickly many times. And I think also there we have to move more towards the middle of the spectrum. INFJs sometimes have to speak out if they have an idea. So yeah, okay, it will not always be appreciated, but that you will also not regret for not have taken action or not have said the right thing in the moment. You see it very much in negotiation. That's, I think, where I'm very strong. It's also my job. I negotiate every day and I love it. That's ESTPs are good in the moment, very quick, and then always responsive. And An INFJ is more like somebody who would design a tender if you have a commercial role. And a very good document where people can bid onto. And so that's how I also see a bit different personalities. But sometimes we cannot perform in our strength, and we also need to expand a bit to the other fields.
Definitely. Like this is the main purpose of my, let's say my life goal right now. I want to, you know, for me is to really develop that. And I've gotten to a point where I know INFJs can be more straightforward. They can like work, like really fight for their ideas and what they believe in, because since there's like these ideas, as long as they're only in our heads, they're not, you know, as long as they're only in our heads, there's nobody benefits from them but us. And, you know, it can't be developed. And so if you have an idea to make something great, let's say at a negotiation, you know, you could help those people if you have a great idea. So, you know, there's benefit in speaking out. And I think, like, for me, looking at ESTPs, what I can imagine that it's difficult to hold on to letting that energy out, right? I mean, like, is that something you would say that you have a skill, or you're working on that skill also to just, like control your SE more?
I do, yeah, but I also have a long commute, and I'm forced to basically not to let all the energy out when I'm in the silent zone of a train. So I think that has been very good to develop my TI. I just use it to learn stuff like MBTI, like the cognitive functions, all these kind of things. Usually ESTPs don't like to read a book or to really spend a lot of time in TI mode.
Yeah.
I'm forced to do that, and because of my commute, doing it already for many years, and I think it has been very beneficial for me. I think it is for all ESTPs. And I think for INFJs, it's good to just go out, and it's always funny when I'm in the INFJ. I feel like I have to protect their life, because otherwise they walk on their bus or run into a pole. It's sometimes you're so much into your mind that you don't see what's in front of you.
I have no sense of orientation whatsoever. I'm serious. I take the elevator, I get to the second floor. I've been on this floor probably 5 times. I still don't know if I have to go left or right. It's really, it's really weird. But
INFJ, yeah. We had also somebody in the office who even entered at the wrong floor and just didn't know how to get to a workplace in the quickest way.
Yeah, that's really fun. But I really like the fact that you said that it's not so much that you control your your SE, but you just use your TI more. And for us, I think it's the same way, because when I was at the lowest point of my life, I was doing too much NI TI. So I was too much in my own world.
Yeah, so you should use your FE more then.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't like I knew I had to get away of this NI, but I cannot control it. But as you said, just do the FE more, and you just pretty much empty out the NI that you have, and you get feedback. Because every time, I think for INFJs, it's important that also every time you express yourself, you also get feedback from the environment. So you have more information to create even more ideas, right? You don't know how people are going to react, and you can build on just ideas.
And INFJs are interesting people, so you need to use your FE to feature.
That's awesome. Yeah. So so those were the points. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure, like, first off, a lot of INFJs are gonna appreciate hearing this from an ESTP who thinks INFJs are interesting and so on. And I hope more of INFJs come out and like be themselves. So thank you so much.
I also hope ESTPs will see the value of your channel.
Yes, yeah. I'm really curious about this. I've never talked to an ESTP online before you. How's it with ESTP videos? There are not that many out there, right?
The EJ R&D is the really great ones, because he also talks my language. So that's
who?
EJ R&D.
Oh my God, I'm his biggest, like, like before I start, but he doesn't, like, somebody uploaded his videos like last.
Exactly. I think he got into a kind of NI loop when NI started to develop, and it didn't work out well for him. So
no, I'm a big fan. because he was the one who really got me into this entire topic of MBTI. I loved his videos, and that, like, it was amazing because the way he expressed it, it was, I don't even know if I, as an INFJ, prefer listening to INFJs explain it or prefer to ESTPs explaining it. So
I think it's just the quadra too, and the beta quadra. We have the same cognitive function, so we understand. Yeah.
yes,
But
that's
most
really,
ESTPs are not into MBTI.
yes, that's true. But maybe when they feel like, okay, now it's about time to conquer one more field I haven't gone into.
Yeah, exactly. They need to have a TI interest for it, and then they can become obsessive like me and
Yeah.
learn a lot about it.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, cool video, Wenzes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
And yeah, thank you so much. And we're gonna talk again. So a lot of people appreciate this, and let's see how many ESTPs also see this and comment. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Okay.
I'll talk to you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.